It's time for Taking Care of Business on Midlands 103. With thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. I'm Ronan. This is Midlands 103, and coming up over the next hour, starting a business is one thing, sustaining it for 15 years is another thing altogether. Catherine Kiveney will join me to reflect on a journey that began with no roadmap and evolved into multiple businesses, changing client expectations and a growing role in Ireland's tourism and events economy. Also, getting noticed is one of the biggest challenges facing your SME. Joe Gilfoy of Vodafone Business will be here to introduce the See Your Business Pitchside initiative and why ambitious Midlands business should seize the opportunity to put their brand in front of millions at this year's Six Nations Championship. And also, after 45 years in business, Eamon Bracken's Menswear in Portarlington is closing the doors to its shop. I'll be talking later on to Bernie Bracken to learn more about the story behind the business and find out maybe what the plans are for the future of the Bracken family and that very business. If you want to be part of the conversation on this evening's show, you can do so. And the quickest and easiest way is by text or WhatsApp. 083 30 10 103 is the number you need. Powered by the home of Offaly's top-selling car brand, Lamb Brothers Toyota on the Arden Road in Tullamore. Or you can drop me an email, business@midlands103.com. But to begin this evening, there's been much talk over the years and about the amount of people who leave County Laois every day to work. And it's kind of a fairly standard phenomenon in most counties around the place. But in Laois, they've always had this feeling that there's quite a lot of people. There's a huge talent pool that's jumping on trains, jumping on buses, getting in cars, maybe even carpooling or whatever mode of transport it might be, to leave County Laois and head in all directions across the country in order to do their job, do their day's work and then return back in the evening. And I suppose it is really fascinating to wonder what could happen if you could get a sense of the makeup of that talent pool and see where they're going every day and look at maybe how that could also impact the future, jobs, economy, the future economic environment around County Laois. Well, Laois County Council has launched a brand new survey to try and gather that data. It's gone live just this afternoon, and to find out more, I'm delighted to be joined by Director of Services at Laois County Council, Angela McEvoy. Good evening, Angela.
Hi Ronan, how are you?
Fantastic. Angela, this sounds really intriguing. I suppose just take us through what were the main reasons for launching this survey today?
Yeah, so I suppose there was a couple of things really at play here for us from our perspective. We are going about a marketing strategy for the county, so we are in the coming months as well. And I suppose in order to kind of inform that marketing strategy, we wanted to kind of get a sense as to, what skilled talent pool is out there and leaving the county every day. That was one of the reasons. The second reason was we did a commuter survey back in 2018 and that revealed over 11,000 outbound commuters on a daily basis. So I suppose we had that baseline data and it was kind of to give us a more updated kind of insight into, I suppose, the patterns from the commuting population, where they're going, what kind of skills they're taking out of the county, and to inform, I suppose, kind of future policy and investment kind of that we will be making over the next couple of years as well,
Laois is well known as a county that has a rapidly growing population. Undoubtedly that's continued since the last time we did a survey in 2018.
It has, yeah, and our population has obviously grown to nearly 91,000, so it has. So we are continuing to grow as a county. Indeed, Port Laois town itself is thriving, and the number of our population base is growing there as well, as is, I suppose, the level of housing activity, housing activity throughout the county as well. So we're seeing a lot of confidence in, that whole sector. And I suppose it's to match that with jobs now to ensure that people can work and live within the county as a whole,
Are there any particular areas that you're really looking to target in terms of just finding out really specifically what people are doing, where they're going?
Yeah, I suppose the last time we had the survey was carried out, there was a number of things that were revealed at that time. There was a number of key industries where we felt that the skills which was revealed that the skills were leaving the county for, and that was in the business and IT sector, the healthcare sector, training and development, manufacturing to a smaller degree, and then retail and wholesale service as well to a small degree. But, a lot of them were highly educated, that were leaving in that kind of professional space to get jobs outside of the county. So again, I suppose we want to try and validate that. I know a lot of things have happened since we carried out that survey in 2018. Obviously, COVID came, so that has kind of changed the working landscape now, and you do have more options available to people to remote work and that type of thing. But also, I suppose, as a council ourselves, we invested a lot in, the offering and, the economic kind of environment around the county. We put forward strategic land banks and we service those in Junction 17 here in Portlaoise. We also have Canal Road Business Park, which we have just serviced with the help of EU JTF fund or Just Transition funding. We've seen investment by the ESB in the training centre here in Portlaoise. And then we had investment by companies such as Kirby Training, Midland Steel, Alpha Drives in Portlaoise. So I suppose, there have been a lot of things that have happened since the last survey was done to try and respond to some of, I suppose, the kind of things that came through in that survey. But there's a lot more to do, and we know that. And I suppose that's why the survey is so important now going forward.
Yeah, it really is. It's far more than just a transport survey. You really are looking at doing a skills and talent map for the county then. And that is great information that you can feed back to those both Indigenous companies and indeed potential FDI companies too.
Absolutely, and we have been in contact with the IDA and Enterprise Ireland, and they're fully, I suppose, behind it, and it's what they need as well when they're going out on an international stage to sell the county in, on that stage as to, what is that talent base, what's that skills base within the county that, potential investors could, look to and use. That is just one factor, obviously, but it is an important factor all the same, and, it would be great, obviously, if people. And we know a lot of the commuters are very loyal to the county. Obviously, they've chosen County Laois as a place to live because of the quality of life that's here, the amenities, the culture, all of that sort of thing that we as a council have invested an awful lot in over the last number of years. But I suppose it's to make sure that we can kind of just align that and that we're all able to sing that message across all of the platforms from IDA, ourselves, Enterprise Ireland, Laois Partnership, Laois Chamber Alliance, anybody that's trying to push that message out there on an economic front.
It's gone live from this afternoon. The good news is it takes less than 5 minutes to fill in. Tell us more about it. How long is the survey open for, and how are you going to try and get the word out there, as well as being on radio, obviously, to tell people, look, click on that link and get filling in?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the most attractive things about it is it only takes 5 minutes to fill in. And I believe already today there have been a good number already engaging with the survey, which is great. It's open till the 17th of February, but we may review it after that if we find that, the numbers, I know they can kind of start well, but, they might dip off in the middle a little bit. But we might, the 17th of February is the date, really. We have promoted it widely through extensive PR. Obviously, we're talking on radio and that in relation to it, and we're pushing it out on all our social media platforms as well. And we've roadside VMS signs as well, so if anybody is in the car and on the way up to Dublin or wherever, they're able to see it's in their face, so it is on the motorways. So look, I suppose it's really important that people engage with us so we can really get a good profile of the commuter that's leaving the county,
Absolutely, and that link is laois.ie/survey too. And that data then, you will plan on using that then to really, as you say, you're creating that kind of branding out strategy for the county too, but also looking at all aspects of it, sort of economic development strategies, future enterprise. Is that the real intention of how you'll use that data and return to the people what they actually really need?
I suppose, Ronan, there's a couple of things really that the research will definitely inform over the next couple of months, The first thing is we're going to be obviously reviewing our county development plan come the end of this year, and we'll start that process. So it'll look at, kind of informing zoning, maybe designations and that type of thing for various different types of sectoral, economic sectoral kind of employment uses. It'll also feed into some regional economic and spatial strategies as well that the Eastern and Midland Regional Assembly are going to be starting as well in the next couple of months. And indeed, even at a more local regional level across the 4 counties, the next iteration of the Midland Regional Enterprise Plan will also be go into review and will be prepared before the end of the year. And again, it is important to know where our priorities are going to lie into the future, and what sectors that we should be focusing on. We've done a lot of work in it, I suppose, with the support of the Just Transition transition funding, where I suppose that's animated a lot of, kind of the sectors in the last Midland Regional Enterprise Plan across the 4 counties. But I suppose specifically we were looking at ICT sector, food and drink, and manufacturing. So, maybe there's different areas now, and obviously, the whole ICT, the AI, the cybersecurity, all of those kind of areas are starting to come through an awful lot more. So I suppose the future of work will be informed by this as we go forward,
So, and the type of person filling it in, a final question for you. If somebody's only crossing the River Barrow from the middle of Portarlington to the Offaly side of it, does that still count as a commute for work?
They absolutely should, yeah, absolutely. We need to know what the skills base, and indeed the same for Carlow, where people are going across the bridge in Graiguecullen, so wherever they're going for work, we need to get that profile, kind of a better picture on it, so we do, and see, because even for Portarlington, I suppose it is very much about, where, the zoning of lands might influence, kind of the skills and all that sort of stuff that then maybe in the county or kept in the county, Well,
it sounds like it's going to be a fascinating data set. Let's get the word out there and get as many people filling it in as possible. If you could capture all those 11,000 people who are apparently leaving the county every day, it would be some body of data to gather. But anyway, the very best luck with it, Angela. We'll do what we can here too to spread the word and get the details and the link out there. But for now, Angela McEvoy, Director of Service, thank you for that this evening.
Thank you, Ronan. Thanks for the time. Thank you.
And that link again is laois.ie/survey. So again, if you are leaving the county any time of the week, even if it's only for a day or 2 days, whatever it might be for work, jump online, fill it in, and be part of that data set. It is a fully anonymous survey. I don't think we touched on that there, but in the official press release as well, it states that too. I think it states it on the questionnaire too. It's fully anonymous, so your name and that type of thing is not part of the survey, and it won't be used in the final reports and all that. It really is just looking at where people are going, what they're doing, and I suppose do a little kind of a survey on kind of lifestyle needs as well. So laois.ie/survey. There you go. There's the link. Get working on that now. Still to come on the show this evening, we'll hear from the team at Eamon Bracken Menswear. Last week they announced they were going to shut the doors of their shop in Portarlington after 45 years. And if you're an SME and you want to get your brand or your business name out there, what better way to do it than being advertised at the home games for Ireland at the Six Nations Championship? An audience in the stadium of 50-odd thousand and millions watching on the TV. Find out how you can do that very, very shortly. Now, when it comes to having a brand and getting a brand out there and knowing how to build a brand from the ground, there's probably nobody better versed than Catherine Kiveney to tell us how to do that. I came across a post she put up on LinkedIn this morning, and she said, last Thursday, the 20th of January, we marked 15 years in business. That deserves a round of applause. It's a huge milestone for any business. But she talks about having no roadmap, no funding, and no real idea where it would lead, but a lot of belief to build something that she's proud of. And she wrapped it up by saying, today I'm taking a moment to mark 15 years in business. That girl in 2011 would be so proud. It was worth it. Grateful, still learning, still building. Catherine, good evening. Welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Good evening, Ronan. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
Was it a bit of a shock, 15 years?
I think I knew it was coming around the corner, but then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, tomorrow is the day, 15 years in business. It just goes by so quick.
Yeah, because sometimes people tend to just miss milestones, ignore them and go. But there's some murder that kind of stick out and make it kind of go, wow.
Yeah, I mark every milestone. If there's any opportunity to mark something, I will. I'm one of those people that when it comes up to anyone's birthday, I'm like, you have to celebrate. Because I suppose you just never know what's around the corner. You don't know, are you ever going to, are you going to have another birthday? You don't know. So celebrate every single one of them.
Absolutely. That's going deep now.
Yeah. Sorry, straight in with
I hope my family are listening as well and make me celebrate my birthday whenever it comes around. We're getting a hint maybe when it comes to celebrating in special occasions. Your business is the hen.ie and people will know it from the work you do, and it really has become, not just event management, but almost like a tourism business as well. It's bringing lots of people to the Midlands, helping out people at a time when, I think most of us have tried to organise a hen or a stag at some stage, and it can be an arduous task to say the least. But that's not where it all began. It originally started out as Bells and Blazers. Yeah,
so the company is actually still registered. It's a limited company called Bells and Blazers Limited. And then we rebranded to thehen.ie in 2019. Which actually doesn't even seem like that long ago, but in one way it kind of feels like it was only yesterday, in another way it's like, oh, we've always been the hen.ie. But yeah, started off as Bells and Blazers back in 2011, and it was bells which is like a female, and blazers to represent men. So it was meant to be a hen and stag party planning company, and I lost the men along the way.
Yeah. Was that for necessity? Were it too hard to deal with, or just the market wasn't the same?
Yeah, it's not the same market, and I remember one of my suppliers saying, you literally picked the hardest market that there is in the entire country. Women who are getting married and or people who are organising stuff for their best friend and all of that responsibility that goes with it. But I knew how to deal with those people, and I don't know, I suppose I've grown with it. But the men, you just never get a hold of them. They're like, yeah, I'll get that, next week. And yeah, no. And then after COVID, nowhere would take them. So it was, okay, bye-bye, boys.
Jesus, yeah, you're giving men a real bad impression here. But
and it's actually shocking. They shouldn't really have targeted them, but you could kind of understand also.
But I think most men listening will know, when it comes to a stag, if you have one person in the group who can organise, who can just tell people, just pay X amount into this now, and and this is what we're doing. When you start leaving it up to people's own discretion and choice, and listen, this is where we're going, book a room if you want, it falls apart, it can crumble. So we push the men aside. Somebody advised you that this is a tough business to get into. I suppose there's already a cost with a wedding, and then the extra stress of organising a hen party. What did you see in yourself though that went, I can do this, and I can make their lives easier and allow them to have a great time and take some of the pressure off the wedding planning? Yeah,
it's funny, when I look back, I feel like it just grew organically. I went into the Prince of Wales Hotel, and at the time they were a 4-star hotel right in the middle of Athlone town, and they didn't really do hen parties. And we had a couple of groups coming and going, and I had been out in Glasson, and I could see how the groups really appreciated like a group package, like in Glasson Golf Club, now the Lake House. It would be, golf groups would ring up and you would sell them a 2-night package, breakfast, dinner, round of golf, X, Y and Z, all included. And it was perfect for them. So I was like, well, the same thing will work with, groups of women. So we started kind of looking at what was available in the area and putting them all in packages for people, and selling them to groups. And they just sold like hotcakes. People were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And at the time, I didn't think it was such a big deal. I was like, well, it kind of makes sense. But for them, they were ringing a hotel to see if there were rooms. And we were like, hey, why don't you go on a boat cruise? Why don't after that you come and do cocktail making for an hour and a half? And then after that, we'll do personalised menus and a nice big table in a restaurant for you. And then after that, we'll have your reserved area in a bar. And then you go down to the nightclub and there's balloons and bubbly. And they were like, oh my God, take all my money.
I like the last bit, all right, yeah. But you begin now it begins to make sense. You can see actually if you can lay that on. Plus you're also like letting people know what's available around the Midlands that maybe some people in the Midlands still don't even realise is available.
Exactly. Like there were so many different suppliers that we reached out to, and when we put it into packages, people were like, oh yeah, no, we'd actually love to do that. And little things like makeup classes and stuff like that. The amount of choice that's out there now is phenomenal compared to the way it was back then. So then it kind of grew. I was a year doing that in the Prince of Wales. I was up at the Bride of the Year show in 2010, and I was standing there with a stand for the Prince of Wales telling this girl all about the packages, and she was like, oh my God, I love your packages, but we want to go to Carrick-on-Shannon, can you help me do that? And I was like, no, I work for a hotel in Athlone, what are you talking about? And then I was like, but hey, I actually know Carrick really well. If you go call the landmark, and if you ring Moon River, and if you Murtha's is the name of the bar up there, and she was like, can you just do it? And I was like, no, I can't do it. And then she walked away, and it was like literally like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you can, and you had, and not just Carrick, probably loads of towns around,
exactly.
And where you go from there. Did it take long to get it going then, and to suppose trust yourself, and then have people trust you to, and just take all that stress?
Yes. Did it take long? So it was a full year before, I had a website and I had all my suppliers on board and I had the rates all set up and everything ready to go. And I actually launched it at the Bride of the Year show a year later. Full circle moment, was there my own company. And it took it took a good while. Like the first year we did 26 bookings. Now I thought I was the absolute bee's knees. The next year we did 96. The next year we did 150. Next year we did 250. But as I was growing, all the money was going back into the company, was going back into marketing, back into advertising, back into getting better IT, so there was no money in the company for about 3 years. So I stayed working in the Prince of Wales for like 2 days a week to try and, fund myself.
Okay, that's impressive going to put that back in, because that turnover and that growth in clients obviously means you had to get a bit of help into.
Yeah, so by 2 years, I hired someone 2 days a week. And it was so funny because if I think back now to my business mind, I was so afraid to leave the hotel because then I would have to admit that this wasn't like a side piece. This was actually, I was funding my life and my daughter's life, and I was on my own 2 feet. So I'd hired this girl to come in 2 days a week. And when she was running my company, I was standing in the Prince of Wales reception. Like when you think about the stupidity of it, but it just maybe might show the psychology of where I was at. I wasn't ready to be on my own 2 feet. And then a friend of mine sat me down and was like, this is really stupid.
No, I'd say there's loads of people listening that have had similar experiences, because maybe there's that fear of actually not only could this work, it is actually working, and there's a potential in that, because not that long, you mentioned how 6 years ago, around this time 6 years ago, we were hearing of this thing called COVID or coronavirus, and we didn't know what it was going to do. Did that change? Like you obviously probably took a hit for a year or two because there was so much stuff cancelled, but has that changed maybe people's appetite for a party, or has it just changed? Are people now looking at going, do you know what, let's just go all out and let's just get you and whatever else is needed?
So it's funny, over the 15 years I have seen the psychology of the country changing in so many different ways. So when I started, it was, we were coming out at the back end of the recession, and everyone was all about money, like, how cheap can we possibly get it? Now, it turns out we could actually get it. That was always our business model. Our packages are cheaper than if you go individually, because we get bulk discounts from all of our suppliers and we pass that on, and we make a small margin then in between. So that was a really good way to be like, okay, our packages are actually cheaper. So if you break it down, this is what the room is per night or whatever. And then after a while, people didn't care how much it was. You were nearly like, you'd nearly have to justify why it wasn't extortionately expensive. And everyone, of course, was just party mad. And then 2020 hit, and it was so funny. I was like getting to that point in my life where I'd got a new office, I got 2 new girls, I was starting to take a step back. I had learned to release all of the responsibilities onto new employees, and I wanted to kind of take a step back and actually grow the business as a business without me being the key person in it. And then bam, COVID. And I was like, are you joking me? Like, seriously. But the really good thing is that over the many, many years that we had been operating before that, the cash flow was there. So when COVID hit, I didn't have to absolutely panic, because I knew that there was backup in the company and I was good for a while. But we were flat out, because when COVID hit, we had 600 groups on the books. So we had 600 groups ringing us, being like, when are they opening the pubs? And I'm like, I don't know. So we were crazy, crazy busy. And then obviously it was cancelling, reorganising, kicking things out. There was one girl who eventually got her hen party after 5 attempts. And it was in 2022. That was the longest one that we had booked and cancelled 5 times. And then after that, it just exploded. Like, our business went from 600 groups a year up to 1,600.
Wow.
It was insane. We'll never get back to that again, though. Those were like the figures that were just totally inflated, And I saw a lot of hotels and a lot of suppliers take advantage of people at the time. And I'm like, don't do that. These people are trying to have a hen party after having to cancel weddings and everything. But yeah, we're kind of down to nice figures now, just about 1,000 a year, which is
it sounds handy. Like I just said at the start,
15 years ago, if that girl in 2011 found out I was doing 1,000 groups a year, I think she'd die. You know.
But obviously you could have multiple groups out different places the same weekend then to manage that level, that number.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then it's split across three. Those figures are split across two companies. So we've the hen.ie, but we also own Team Building Ireland as well. And Team Building Ireland runs activities for hen parties, but mainly corporate companies then as well. So it's two separate businesses, that are...
Yeah, 1,000 groups a year. I said it's becoming its own tourism business there too, and the impact around the region. Do things like there's a new tourism strategy announced there before Christmas? Do things like that excite you, or is it something that's badly needed in the Midlands? Because you've clearly already seen and shown and been successful at showing people what is great about the Midlands. What are we not doing around here? Are we telling each other enough about how great the Midlands can be for, be it a staycation, a daycation, or an overseas visitor coming in?
So I suppose my market of the section of the market are looking at something very specific, which is, do I have nice accommodation? Do I have a nice meal? Do I have activities? And do I have a nice, good, lively bar and, nighttime space to go to? And Athlone, Mullingar, Tullamore, they all offer that. A lot of people, when they contact us, they have absolutely no idea where to go, what to do. So we have to take them by the hand and we're like, where are you coming from? We're coming from Dublin. How many people do you have? We've 15. Great. So you want to go within about an hour and a half of your area. So we would recommend Bray, Kilkenny, Carlow, Tullamore, Athlone, Mullingar, Navan, Carlingford. Try and keep within that area. They're like, oh, Athlone, God. I know, a friend of mine went to college there years ago. I'd never think of it as a night out. And I'm like, oh my God, it's great. The piano bar, and you have Maisie's, and you have Sean's bar, and, we do tell people, we're like, look, we're really biased because our office is in Athlone, so we absolutely love it. But we've never had anyone say, no, you were wrong. It actually is a really good place to go to.
Absolutely. Well, if 1,000 bookings plus a year, clearly, you're not steering people wrong. Have there been any crazy requests?
No. No, it's all really boring, Ronan. No, I can't think of anything that was mental crazy. I mean, everyone that we really talk to is a bridesmaid who's trying to give her best friend the best possible weekend that she can give her, and the stress that comes with that is we've had people crying on the phone and we're like, okay, you gotta just tame this back. It's a hen party, you're okay, you'll get through this. But I think a lot of it is that one-upmanship, that girl had X, Y and Z, so we have to do better. And I'm like, no, you just have to do a hen party that's suitable for your friend,
Absolutely. Know your target audience. Speak to somebody who knows their way around as well.
Yeah.
God, it's going to be a fascinating next 15 years, I think.
Yeah, and I think, when I started back 15 years ago, I didn't ever envisage having another company that runs the activities as well. And then, so we started with just doing the one activity, and now we have 14 different activities that are ran all over the country, everything from Paint and Sip to Finding Ted activity, the Cube, and all of those just naturally grew. And I suppose it was just being open to the changing appetite in people, and I suppose when you get inspiration, just kind of going, yeah, okay, let's go for this. Let's see if we can make this work. And then after COVID, well, before COVID, I'd kind of been always looking, but after COVID, the push was on then for me to say, okay, well, I need to kind of pivot away from being so heavily reliant on hen parties. And so that's when we made the big push into the corporate market. That took a good while to come back after COVID. But once it did come back, we were right in there. And then Loughnane Valley Cottages came along. So now we've diversified into 3 separate companies that are in 3 separate markets.
You're going to tell me next you're going to be making your own Prosecco now to cater for the growing
Oh, what
market.
a great idea.
You heard it here first anyway. I get about 50%. So, Catherine, it's been absolutely fascinating. Congrats, 15 years. Huge amount of personal milestones in there as well. We can't even get through them all. Loads of businesses, loads of great ideas. But definitely, I think anyone listening there can pick out, a very, very shrewd business head there behind it all. Despite what you tell us about not having plans and roadmaps, I think you knew exactly where you were going. Catherine, it's been a pleasure. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Ronan.
And there you go now. There's your inspiration. So fill out that survey for County Laois if you're working in County Laois. And if you have a hen party coming up or you have to try and arrange it for somebody, why not just take all the pressure away and have a great time? The hen.ie is the place to go. Now, Catherine knows a thing or two about how to brand a business and how to really develop a profile with it. If you are struggling or you need that extra boost, could you imagine if your business was advertised at the Six Nations Championship? Well, find out how you could be a business that could benefit from that in just a couple of moments. Welcome back to Taking Care of Business. I hope like me you found before the break there that it was really fascinating talking to Catherine Kiveney from thehen.ie. I mentioned if you had a small business and you could only dream of having your business advertised at a major international sporting event. Well, there is an opportunity coming up and it's through Vodafone Business. And to find out more about that, I'm delighted to be joined now by Jo Gilfoy, and she is with Vodafone Business, she's the Director of Vodafone Business, and she's here today to talk about Ireland's call, See Your Business Pitchside. Now, there's probably a big clue into which sporting tournaments I'm referring to there. Good evening, Jo.
Hi Ronan, how are you?
I am fantastic as well. I suppose it's that time of year. We've people are saying they've got over January. Early February usually brings the beginning of the Six Nations Championship, and Vodafone Business has been working with this SME initiative since about 2021. Tell us more about Ireland's call, See Your Business Pitchside.
So See Your Business Pitchside is honestly, it's one of my most favourite competitions that we run throughout the year because it brings together so many of the wonderful qualities that we really have in Ireland. Obviously, we have the rugby and we have the small businesses that are the powerhouses of Ireland. So what the whole competition is about is, as you say, clues a little bit in the title, See Your Business Pitchside. This gives Irish small businesses the chance to see their branding at the Aviva at one of the matches. And this is it's almost like a money can't buy experience. It gives huge visibility, huge brand coverage, not just to the 50,000 people who will be in the stadium, but to the millions of people who are watching it at home and also globally. It's a fantastic opportunity to get your brand out there.
And it is SMEs that in particular that you're interested in, and you've had kind of clothing companies and even a milk producer or supplier that has milk vending machines. So there's loads of businesses around the Midlands that really fit into those categories. It's worth about 25,000 euros plus, and it's part of Vodafone's larger commitment to SME growth, digitalisation, visibility. A standout moment so far from the last couple of years, you've direct evidence of the impact it has on those brands.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the Killadoon Milk is the customer who won them before. We've had clothing companies, we've had hamper companies, we've had print companies, and what all of them have said, because we keep in touch with all of them, is the fact that visits to their websites, actually conversions into sales, and getting their brand talked about in areas that they just wouldn't be able to do that with their normal marketing budgets. But also sort of the longevity of the importance of the competition as well, because we also produce sort of social media clips to be used on people's websites, and also the fact that we spend a lot of time working with the company themselves to really understand what drives them and how we can sort of use them in a lot of our other conversations with small businesses to really share their values and their drive as well.
Can exposure like that maybe open people's eyes and maybe open their minds to maybe looking outside the area that they were originally targeting for their business and maybe even look internationally?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is why visibility matters sort of more than ever, really. I mean, we all know the fact that we live in a very, very global marketplace. There's sort of, I mean, you place an order at 10 o'clock at night, you get something delivered sort of the next day. And so I think that the actual marketplace, especially that small businesses are competing in, is a lot wider than ever before. And small businesses have a lot to do. They have a lot to think about. And even great products could struggle if people actually don't know that they exist. So being able to sort of offer this competition, offer this prize, means the fact that we can turn ambition into awareness and help businesses really reach customers far beyond their local area.
Yeah, one thing I know from this show is so many business owners, they all have great ambition, and the awareness piece can be a bit more difficult in how you get your brand out there properly. But even to showcase to your existing customers or potential customers that you are maybe up to speed with things like artificial intelligence, digitalisation, does visibility really help play a role in that too, in showing that your SME is as modern as it can be?
Yes, no, I completely agree. I mean, as we said, visibility just really, really matters so much. You're competing in a very complicated, a very crowded marketplace, but everybody has tremendous passion and ambition for their particular brand. And we see that visibility, but also melded with technology. I mean, Vodafone, I have a great privilege in Vodafone working with 60% of Irish businesses. And what I really, really see is the level of innovation and ambition around our businesses. I mean, if I think of a couple of businesses I talk to regularly, we've obviously got farmers using sort of IoT sensors and connected apps to track animal health and locations, but also the sort of people are starting to use a lot more AI, even for sort of things like powered chatbots to handle FAQs or make appointment bookings. Technology should absolutely help your business. It should never be a hindrance.
Absolutely, and so many potential applications of technology like that. And you know, if your business can be working for you while you are, as a small business owner, managing to take a break or a bit of downtime, that can be a real kind of golden area to hit as well. Beyond things like this campaign, what other work does Vodafone do to support SMEs around the regions like the Midlands?
I mean, in all the areas, but kind of particularly really in the Midlands, the fact that we do a lot within our retail stores as well. So all of our retail stores have a business in retail advisor. That's a really unique selling point for Vodafone. So definitely please go in, have a chat about your business. They're always there to talk to you about how can we sort of help with productivity, how can we help with efficiency. We also partner globally to try and bring the best of the global world down to sort of each individual business as well. So we recently won Microsoft's Global Telco Partner of the Year. So being able to really bring the size of that partnership down and say, well, actually, how can AI, digitization, how can technology help you drive your businesses? And obviously the fact that we are always here to talk. Please reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation with you about your business just to see how we can help you really power you and really grow your ambition.
Well, as many people will be aware, the Six Nations is kicking off later this week. So the campaign is actually still open. People can still apply. You'd over 6,000 applications, I believe, in 2025. The deadline is looming, though, the 13th of February. Tell people how they can actually get in there and lodge an expression of interest.
Really, really simple. Go onto the Vodafone Business website. If you find the bit that says "Grow Your Business," and you will see a fantastic marketing piece with all of the rugby lads on there, and it has all of the information underneath it, and you can enter it there and then. Really simple. And
of course, the one question people love to ask: does it take long to fill in on average, or is it a simple process?
Oh no, absolutely simple processes all the way. That's the way we grow.
That's it. Well, you're speaking the language of many a small business owner now. Keep it simple and get in, but and potentially with high impact result there too. It's called Ireland's Call, See Your Business Pitchside, and as Joe said there, just get onto the website, find that growth section, lodge your application, and who knows, you could see your small business brand being promoted at the Viva Stadium in the upcoming Six Nations. Joe, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for that, and talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Ronan. Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's Joe Gilfoy, their Director of Vodafone Business. So yeah, why not? So you're going to fill in your commuter survey for Laois County Council if you live in County Laois and leave that county for work on a daily, maybe even once a week or whatever basis you leave it to go to work. Fill that in and be part of the future of Laois County Council in terms of its economic strategy and planning and its economic development. It's part of a larger talent and skills mapping exercise too. That's one thing you can do. If you are in need of a hen party to be organised. The hen.ie is definitely the place to go. And if you want to try and get your brand advertised there at a major international rugby festival, sure, why not give that a lash as well? There you go. Lots of homework from the show this evening already. Portarlington was mentioned when I spoke to Angela McEvoy, Director of Services at Laois County Council, at the start of the show when we were talking about that county-wide survey that they're doing. It's a commuter survey. It's believed there's about 11,000 people who would consider themselves as commuters, so they're leaving County Laois every day to go to work. And as we pointed out, even if you're only crossing from Offaly into Laois or from Laois into Offaly or Laois into Carlow, they want to hear from you as well, and they want to just learn a little bit more about where you're going and what you're doing. It's a fully anonymous survey, of course, so no personal data will be given away or stored in that. But we mentioned towns like Portarlington, and Laois is one of the fastest growing, I think it is the fastest growing county in the country from a population perspective, and towns like Portarlington are expected to have significant population growths in the years to come. One thing though people moving to Portarlington or may not see or will not see, unfortunately, is Eamon Bracken's menswear, because that shop that really is synonymous there with the main street in Portarlington, they're closing their doors in a couple of weeks' time after 45 years of business. Well, I had the pleasure recently of catching up with Bernie Bracken to talk about the story behind the business, the reasons for closing, and to try and find out maybe what might be coming next for the famous business.
Well, look, you know what? It's been a marvellous 45 years, because we started very young. Eamon was just 20 when he actually started out here. He initially worked for Tom Manley, and then he got the opportunity when he was 21 to take it over himself, which he did, and that's the year we met. And soon after that then, with the help of his parents actually, Bunny and Julia, they were great support to us. We actually got the opportunity to buy the shop, and that's where it all started, and we started to expand our business and grow it from there.
Fantastic. So got such a young age to take on a business like that too. And what has brought about the closure? Is it retirement or?
Yeah, so look, semi-retirement, I suppose you'd call it. We've been a long time doing it. Now, thank God we've been so successful and we've been busy, still busy. But we'd like a little bit more time to do things in life ourselves. So while we're retiring from the menswear here on the main street, there will be another project happening down the road. We're actually continuing our dress hire and our wedding attire business. So just to reassure anyone who has their weddings booked, everything is still as it was, and we're still taking bookings on that end.
Absolutely.
So that'll be happening in a couple of months down the road. That's
super, because I'd say it's a part of the business that has remained steadily busy, because I was just chatting to somebody in a similar kind of a retail shop recently, and they said that, even TY balls now, boys are going mad for suits. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's TY season, and then you have Deb's season, and then there's always funerals, events, balls, all of that sort of thing. So it's quite popular. So it's been a good end of our business, and we intend to keep that. And yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think big people will absolutely miss you when the doors closed there on the street in Portarlington. Any highlights over the years? Yeah. Was there any moments there that really set it apart? Because I'm sure there's plenty of times where you probably fought and said, we need to just give this up and live an easier life.
Look, I suppose it's like any married couple, there's been tough times and there's been great times, but I have to say we've had some unbelievable crack in the shop down through the years. We've always been very customer focused and community focused, so people have been wonderful. Like, apart from the local town and surrounds, we've people who travel to us from all over, and they're so loyal, and we're so grateful to have that. But we often even had pints down here in the shop. Dip in next door to the Anvil, and if a guy was weighing and he was getting tired waiting and getting the suit sorted, getting a pint next door. So we had great crack. And even with the staff, there was always a bit of banter, a bit of fun, and I think that's what kept it all ticking over nicely. We certainly enjoyed it. Now, we had one disaster where we were flooded out one Saturday morning. No. It rained so hard. We came in and literally we were beginning to see water tipping up to our ankles, and there was customers running out with bundles of suits, running across the road to get them out of harm's way. But that's the kind of effort that people put in. People were great, and we were involved, I suppose, with the local Traders Association, the JA, all of those people, and Eamon was heavily involved with the Christmas lights, the street lights. Himself and a few traders set that up about 30 years ago, I'd say now. And it was only a couple of years ago I said to him, listen, you have to stop climbing ladders here. Time to hand over the mantle. But we were happy to be involved in all of that. And, I think Portarlington has a great spirit about it, and the people in it are wonderful. They've been so loyal and so grateful, or so supportive of us down through the years.
Yeah, and you can see there's been a subtle change there over the last 5 or 10 years. There's stuff happening there now. There's some nice facilities, nice amenities popping up too.
Absolutely.
There's a few nice places to have a cup of coffee or somewhere to eat there along there. So with that, is there any plans for the actual shop unit, or is that something you haven't looked at yet?
Not quite decided yet. No, that's still in the process. We just haven't decided yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
but something good will go in, no doubt.
So just take us through when will the doors close for the final time, and I guess there's probably some good bargains to be gotten there at the minute, and maybe a pint.
Yes. There absolutely is. Yeah, we're in sale at the moment, so there's plenty of value, and we'd love to see our customers. We've had lots of people in, even over the past few days. It's been amazing, and thank you to everybody who has either phoned us or texted us or sent a message via social media. That we really appreciate it. It makes this a little bit easier for us to know that we made a difference to people. But we'd probably be thinking a 6 to 8 weeks kind of time frame, but at the moment, we're still trading away here, so we'd love to see people come in and visit us and say hello even.
Absolutely. Look, and that 6 to 8 weeks might take you closer to launching that new venture, new side of the business too. So look, keep in touch with us, and we'll be glad to get the message out there as well. And sure, enjoy the next couple of weeks anyway.
And I also want to pay tribute to all our staff down through the years who have been wonderful. They've been nothing but short of excellent, all of them, in their work and in their loyalty and their heart. We really want to commend them for that, because they were great.
That's Bernie Bracken there, of course, wife of Eamon Bracken from the shop called Eamon Bracken's Menswear in Portarlington. They're closing their doors there in a couple of weeks' time after 45 years. I think they've earned the right for a little bit of downtime, a little bit of semi-retirement. But as always, like any real entrepreneur as well, they're not gone away. They're not going away just yet, and there will be an element of that business. But just listening to Bernie there for a few minutes talking to me, you just get that sense too of the impact. We often speak about it, but sometimes it's very hard to quantify it, but the impact that local businesses have in our communities. You hear things mentioned like the Christmas lights, all the weddings, the funerals, being with people there at those critical and crucial times of their lives. But, they'll be missed on the street in Portarlington, but who knows what might go in there. And, it would be a great location if you had an idea for a shop and you wanted to continue to the success of Portarlington, another rapidly growing town as well. There was a good announcement earlier today that Wendy's is on its way to County Offaly, that Tullamore has been described as a thriving town for business, and the reason why Wendy's is opening its second Irish store in the town. That's according to Corraboyle, which will be opening a drive-through in May that will lead to creation of around 60 new jobs. Wendy's and Corrabs are currently hiring for management roles, with kitchen crew and customers-facing positions opening soon too. Philip Monks is Chief Marketing Officer for Corraboyle. He says the Offaly town will also include a drive-through.
We've been looking at locations throughout the country for the last number of months, and just Tullamore kind of struck us as a great location. It's a real thriving town, and also from our side it's a drive-through and it's a 50-seater restaurant as well, so it's something that was really appealing to us. Offaly
TD Tony McCormack says it's a welcome addition to the town.
I think Wendy's will be a fantastic addition to Offaly. It will become a real destination, attracting people from right across the Midlands, and that increased footfall will of course bring valuable business to our local shops and services. The fact that this is only the second Wendy's in Ireland shows that Offaly is becoming increasingly attractive and competitive again on the national stage. It's a strong endorsement of our community and the opportunities that exist here.
Do you remember years ago, if you went to Dublin, the one thing you look forward to was maybe going to a certain takeaway or a particular franchise. Now we have them all across the Midlands. We're really flying it, are we? Doing well. Anyway, Wendy's on its way to Tullamore, due to open in May of this year. Now, somebody who was also underway is Joe Cooney. He's getting ready next door to come in and bring you the very best of Irish and American country music from 8 o'clock. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed this evening's show and found it useful. I'll talk to you all next Tuesday. Take care.
Taking Care of Business returns next Tuesday at 7 p.m. with the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.